Meeting come to order, and we'll turn it over to Dr. Verstoff.
Well, I'm going to turn over to Hernandez, who's going to lead our invocation, and lead our pledge of allegiance.
Please rise. Dear Lord, we ask for your blessing upon this gathering of leaders united to advocate on behalf of the students of Southwest ISD. Guide us in the work that we embark on today and help us fulfill our duties to the best of our abilities, always in the interest of the community we serve. In your name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. So we have some special guests today, board members and guests. We have a very vibrant AHA Bee initiative in our school district, anti-harassment, anti-bullying. As part of that work, Ms. Lori Vanderwally has been working with groups of folks who represent beehives, who do aspects of work. There was one campus that really kind of came forward to really kind of send a message about anti-harassment, anti-bullying through modeling and through their theater class. And so we got to see this as a staff. We thought it would be very interesting for our school board to see some of the work and creativity that goes into our campuses that sends out a message. So I'll turn it over to Ms. Vanderwally. She'll introduce our school theater students, and we'll go from there.
Okay, and I'm going to just ask Ms. Tyndall to come up, and she's going to explain sort of the process behind this skit as the kids get in place. Ms. Tyndall?
Thank you. Hello, I am Ms. Tyndall. I teach theater arts over at Scoop Middle School. Earlier this year, we were approached from Freewall Elementary School to create an anti-bullying skit to present to their elementary school students as a part of an anti-bullying rally. So we did that. This came about through a lot of collaboration and improvisation from the students. I gave them kind of a direction that I wanted it to go, and they created the content. At the beginning of the year, we were fortunate enough to have our restorative practice administrator come into our classroom and do a circle with us. So we felt very strongly about putting a circle into our skit as a way to resolve the bullying because we really enjoyed it and we felt that it was relevant to show the elementary school students at Freewall what a circle looked like and how we like to solve our problems over at Scoop Middle School. So without further ado, this is the Advanced Theater Arts Production class performing Loser Buddies. Hey, can I sit with you guys?
Ew, no.
Ew. Shaggy, you wouldn't believe it. It happens a lot around here. Nobody gets to it. What's your name? Oh, my name's Claudia.
Loser buddies.
Okay, today's my first day of school, and believe me, it hasn't started off so good. But do you think I should still sit next to Claudia, or do you think I should just sit somewhere else? What do you think, Marcus?
Well, as your conscience, I think you should sit with her because at least you'll have a friend.
You know what? You're right.
Of course.
I'm Annalise.
Nice to meet you.
Hey, would you like to come by my house after school? We can be able to discuss the extra credit assignment.
Yeah, I'd love to. Hello, class. Today we're going to be... Oh, it seems we have a new student. What's your name?
Annalise?
Okay, everyone give Annalise a warm welcome. Today we're going to be doing algebra. If you need a pencil, just raise your hand. Let's go.
Just to give you some advice, I'd rather you not sit with that Claudia girl because no one likes her. She's a loser. You're wrong about Claudia. She's a very kind and sweet girl, and I'm proud to say that she's my friend.
Whatever, loser. Miss, why do I have to sit next to her? She's a student. Please do your work. I'm not going to sit next to her. I didn't ask if you wanted to sit next to her. sorry, I'm leaving. Class dismissed. Have a good day. Hope you learned something new. So, how's your first day here so far?
To be honest, not as well as I hoped.
Oh.
I made one friend so far.
Oh, that's good.
Her name's Claudia, but everybody says that she just stopped being her friend and then just go along with the crowd.
Oh. Well, you know what? Don't listen to what they say. You be friends with who you want to be friends with. But if you ever need a teacher to talk to, I'm here.
Thanks.
Of course.
What do you think about this for our future assignments?
I think this chapter is a bit better. I like the part.
Watch out, little buddies.
What about this chapter?
Yeah, this one's way better than. What's this? Is this Shakespeare? Hey, get away!
Hey, give that back!
Don't do that to her. Just drop it. It's not worth it.
You okay? Yes. Can't believe that just happened to us.
It's never been this bad.
Shouldn't we tell someone about it?
So, I've been getting bullied for quite some time. Yeah. And I don't know if I should tell a teacher. Look, I know you've been through, and it's been too much. It's bad, and I think now that you have Annalise, you can finally go tell someone. I think I'm gonna tell a teacher. Good. Okay, let's go tell teacher.
I know the perfect one. Come on.
All right, and class dismissed. Okay, everyone have a good day. Be safe. Learn something, please.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Can we talk to you for a moment?
Of course. So we've been getting bullied. That's terrible. How long has it been going on?
Ever since my first year, since the first day of school.
This is bad news. You guys want to tell someone, right?
Yes.
I know just the teacher. Okay, Mr. Shanghai, this is Claudia, and this is Annalise. Annalise, Claudia, this is Mr. Shanghai. He's our counselor, and they've been having some trouble with bullying, and I think they should talk to you.
Well, what seems to be the problem?
We've just been getting harassed by some students.
Would you like to name these students, or so if you?
Alexia, Chelsea, Alexandria, and Caitlin.
All right, so I would suggest a circle for this. It's very good because there might be something going on in someone in your class's life that you may not know about, which is why this is happening. So would you like that?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I'll see you girls on Friday. All right, so I'm going to go over some guidelines with you before we start. All right, so first, this is the talking. You cannot speak or talk without this. Mr. Clark.
I'm really sorry about it.
Alright, so we'll pass it down, Natalie.
Well, I recently moved here from Detroit, and kind of hard to get used to school and some of friends and trying to get used to the new environment I have. So I've been getting bullied for the whole year, and I could never figure out why, and I'm just glad I'm listening.
Alright, so before I close the circle, would anyone, and I mean anyone, like to apologize for what has been going on?
I want to say I'm really sorry about everything I've done, and I just feel really bad. I didn't know that y'all were going through all that, so I'm really sorry.
Alright, if you can pass this down to Sophie.
I just want to say I'm really sorry for taking my anger out of y'all. I never should have done that. Y'all were actually really cool. I'm really sorry.
Alright, so now I'm going to close the circle by leaving you with a quote. Blowing out somebody's candle does not make your shine brighter. Okay? Alright, circle smith.
Hi. Hi. Hello. Hey. Hey. You two are getting this from this book? Yeah, this is actually a really good book. Guys, I'm having a birthday party on Friday, and I wanted to know if y'all wanted to come. Sure, sounds fun. Here's an invitation. Happy early birthday. Thank you. What I have learned from this experience is that it's good to stay by your friends during a struggle. What I've learned is to never take out your anger on someone else. What I've learned is to always help people if you're getting bullied.
What I've learned is, even though you're going through tough times at home, it's okay to tell somebody about it.
Okay. Do you ever hear that tiny little voice inside your head telling you not to do something that's mean? Telling you not to do it because it's probably not the right thing to do. So if you ever hear it, listen to it. Because if you don't, I'm going to be unhappy. Then you're going to be unhappy, and it's not a good situation. I don't know what I'm going to get her for her party.
That was really good.
Very good.
Great job.
Excellent.
Okay, and as they put up their props, I just want to say that this is probably one of the best examples of the AHA Be voice in our schools. When our students embody these messages, I think kids hear them a little more clearly, and plus they're learn to be courageous and to stand up for what's right. So I want to thank the Scobie Theater Arts kids and Miss Tyndall for her guidance. And we will have pizza as soon as we're done with the presentation, ma'am.
Could we
Thank
get them to tell us our names, their names, please?
Sure, sure. Y'all go ahead, turn around and introduce yourselves.
Hello, I'm Michelle Shanahan.
Hello, I'm Dee.
How you guys doing? I'm Darian Tutero. Hello, my name's Annalise Torres. Hi, I'm Alexia. Hi, I'm Chelsea Alvarado.
Hello, I'm Claudia Pacheco.
Hi, I'm Peyton Shaw. Hi, I'm Alexandria Keaton.
Thank you.
Very good.
Nice job.
Excellent.
Nice job.
Thanks. Thanks, guys. Yep. So as I was preparing for this morning, I realized that the last time I spoke to you guys was last February. And so I thought, well, they deserve an update. So I'm going to quickly go through. I'm not going to read every slide because I gave you copies. But I do believe at this point, serving as a project lead for AHA B, it's become a very powerful innovation. And I say innovation because I think we have the most organized anti-harassment, anti-bullying program in the San Antonio area and maybe beyond that. We're organized very holistically. We have a representation, a strong representation in a steering group. Employees across the district participate in a monthly meeting. But not only that, they work in impromptu groups as well. They work electronically, have meetings by phone, because there's a lot of work to be done. And so you can't just, the meetings are just a measure of our progress. The real work is done in between the meetings. We have a community task force where parents come, and actually we've invited many of those parents who have time during the day or make time during the day to come to our steering group meetings as well, because that's a great point for us to all get together and make sure that progress is happening. And then finally we have a formalized group, student sign spinners, but we have student groups everywhere, like Ms. Tyndall's Theater Arts group, that are starting to embrace this very sort of formalized approach to anti-harassment, anti-bullying in the district. The Pioneers, we had it in our district strategic plan for 2020. Our steering group first formed in September of 2015. It's 52 members strong. We have involved parents. There's about probably 15 that regularly attend meetings, and there's 3 or 4 that come to our steering group meetings too, because they want to be a part of the project teams doing the work. And just as an aside, a lot of these parents actually came to us because they had bullied kids or were involved with kids that were aggressive, and they may have been their own kids that were the bullies, that were accused of being the bullies. And on both ends, they felt very helpless, right? It's hard to figure out what's going on with a child that is purposely being mean to others, and then it's hard to protect that child that's at school on the other end of that. And they've really kind of come out and said that this has given them a way to feel less helpless, because they know what they're doing with the AHA B group affects all children in the district. In March 2016, we administered surveys. I guess that's why I was here back in February 2015. We had amazing results. 95% of elementary students responded, 58% of middle school and high school. Of our employees, 82% responded. And of the 14,000 parents that we sought responses from, we got 24% response rate, which is very good for sort of a publicly pursued survey. After the survey results came in, the steering group and the community task force parents came together, and we prioritized 10 areas. We realized we'd like to fix everything, right? But in order to know that we were going to see some results this year, we had to really focus on the areas that we felt like were the most areas of need. So those are our 10 priorities. The 10 priorities helped us to have a solutions focus, so that anything we design, anything we form, anything we put resources, time, money into, it's got to be tied back to one of those 10 priorities. So one of the first priorities was to get a reporting tool. We didn't really have a district-wide online reporting mechanism, and we have that now. It's at swisd.net/report-it, and that's the little survey off to the side. We've developed plug-and-play curriculum for teachers. There's a district-wide art contest, which I'll show you. We have student sign spinners now, our student group. Parent-child conversation starters to send home for all age groups. The Great Kindness Challenge, which happened the 3rd week in January. We had lots of participation from that. An end-of-school community rally is being planned for May 4th at Legacy Stadium. And that'll be open for families. There'll be lots of freebies, inflatable slides, all the things that get people out. And we also have in your little packet, there's these little AHA B bucks. We've created a little incentive for good behaviors, for positive behaviors. We don't want to just focus on what's going wrong. We want to focus on the positive and really reinforce that. So those incentive dollars can be used at our AHA B concession stand. Our spinners will be raising funds at different events, selling lemonade and tea, and maybe some other things. And the AHA B bucks can be used just like $1 at those concession stands. Plus, we're planning an online store with little, just little items that kids love, like you see at the Chuck E. Cheese stores and Peter Piper stores and things like that. Plus, we'll have an education sort of approach to those too, like specially printed pens and pencils and things like that. So the art contest you also have in your little packet. If you look on the back side of that flyer, and by the way, AHA B bucks will be given for any student that enters into the contest. If you look at those captions, you can, and you look at the priorities, all of these captions were based on our priorities, what we want to fix. And so the students are to choose a caption and then illustrate it in whatever medium they like. They can submit a video, a painting, a sculpture, however they want to express their feelings about those captions. And that helps us adults to actually communicate out those priorities and change those survey results. So it all ties back to improvement in specific areas. We also have the AHA B student sign spinners. A little picture of them there. And this little video probably explains them best. So I'm going to show that now.
I've been bullied before, and it really doesn't feel good at all.
It's not good.
You do it, man. You're low.
Bullying, it's a bad thing, you know.
I don't think people should be bullied. I don't think it's right.
I want to show awareness and just to tell people that's not good.
I was cyberbullied, and I want to bring a change to bullies, and so that it doesn't happen to anybody else.
And we're working together with middle schoolers and elementary kids.
I'm already, I used to get bullied also, and you know, standing against bullying, especially like this, getting awareness out will help a lot more.
Pretty nice. Like they seem to be having a lot of fun. So, you know, seeing their smile makes my day. You know, makes it go by so much better.
It gives the kids the opportunity to have a voice and bring awareness to those who are bullied.
It
Okay, and so just to end this presentation really with the bang, I've invited a few of our student sign spinners. If I could get them all in here. When we applied for the grant, we were hoping for 20 kids from the high schools and the middle schools to spin, and we ended up with 40 plus kids wanting to spin signs. And so in addition to getting our arrow signs, our own print shop has actually helped us to deal with the numbers, and you'll see the signs kind of laying around. We use all of them in our presentations. We've done a presentation at Hidden Cove Elementary School. The kids absolutely loved it. And we're hoping to get into every elementary school with either an assembly, a 30-minute assembly, or just spinning at the parent drop-off and pickup points. The messages are powerful, but what brings them to life and what makes them the most powerful are these guys who are standing behind them and possibly helping other kids to know that, hey, if they're not comfortable going to an adult, there are some students out there that are willing to step up and help too. So I'm going to put on a little music for these guys. They like a little motivation.
Good luck.
You might want to. We're still learning.
I don't have one of the aux cords. I can just play it.
Okay, just play it out.
So go up there and spin.
Go ahead. Y'all might want to go one at a time though. Woo! Nice. Nice.
Very good.
Girls, y'all can go. Girls.
Show them what you got.
Bigger than her. Woo! Good job. Yeah, yeah. Woo! Okay. Is that everybody?
Yeah.
So we were a little bit worried about these big signs in our middle schoolers, but first day of practice, which one of you was doing a cartwheel with the sign?
This one.
Yeah, she was like, I'm going to do a cartwheel with this sign. I was like, you go, girl. So they've done really well. We have representation from every middle school and our high school, both the 9th grade and our 10 through 12 campus. This is Miss Micaela Brown, and she's the sponsor at the high school. There are a total of 6 sponsors, and they all help each other out to make sure that these events are well attended with our spirit group, that they come together and work together. And she's going to introduce her high schoolers, unless y'all just want to introduce yourselves.
Go ahead, Juan.
My name's Juan Medrano. I'm RTC bro. So, yeah, this was kind of easy for me.
I'm Mario Ramirez. I'm a senior at the high school.
Girls.
I'm Victoria Vasco, and beautiful city. I'm Alyssa Grass, and I'm fan from Trophy also.
So we will survey again early April, and I hope to be back with some great news. I know I'll be back with some great news.
So we'd like to, on behalf of the district, thank you, Ms. Vanderwally, and all the adults who have been part of making this happen, putting the actor behind it. And the kids are impressive, the theater and the spinners and the messaging. You guys important to have that conversation and that messaging. And I know we're going to see you guys on the news here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Feel free to use your AHA bucks at our events. Get
Okay.
some sweet tea and lemonade.
Do they
Sweet
work
BT.
at Pedro?
Probably not.
All right, the next thing on the agenda is Legacy High School.
Yes, sir. This continuation, we have a new leader who's leading our transitional Wednesday meetings in Mr. Richard Flores, and we want to keep coming back to the board to present out some of the conversations, dialogue, decisions that large group leads called the Legacy Transition meeting. And today we'd like to point out some of our spirit song and music, and I'm just turning over to Richard. He has a better idea than I do.
Well, thank you, and please allow us a little bit of setup time for the equipment that we're bringing in. But I want to acknowledge all the folks that have been highly involved in this process. It's senior staff and of course our athletic department led by Coach Wagner, and the fine arts department, and all the different facets of the district that come into play when opening a new school. And so with that, we have had a lot of collaboration between the athletics department, our spirit groups, and band, and so forth, so that we can provide information for you, so that you know what our uniforms are going to be looking like, and so forth. And so the first part of our presentation today is going to be the athletic department. So I'm going to turn it over to Coach Wagner, and he's going to present their uniforms.
So I want to thank Mr. Flores for all his help and all the collaboration that we've done with our team. And I'm going to start this thing out. I don't want to mess up your slide, Miss Bellarine. So. What's that? There we go. Okay, so I'm going to present the volleyball uniforms real quick, and I'm going to bring Coach Tarvin up because he's been doing a lot of legwork with the football uniforms and the kids going to decide as to what they're going to look like next season. So with the volleyball uniforms, you'll see that this is the gold. That in volleyball you have to wear solid colors. We have two main solid colors that we're looking at, so it's pretty easy with volleyball. We'll have a gold and we'll have a green, and they'll be green and gold, and we'll go from there. It's pretty cut and dry with that. So if you have any questions with the volleyball or anything? No? Okay, Coach Tarvin? Coach Tarvin's done a lot more with the football.
Good afternoon, guys. Barely afternoon. A little background on the football stuff.
There's the green.
I initially told all the kids from McCullough and Resnick and our high school that were zoned to go to Legacy and start talking to them. The first thing we talked about were two types of jerseys. We did a Nike jersey and an Under Armour. And I will just say that about 90% of our kids, prospective kids that are going over to Legacy, they want an Under Armour uniform. So that was pretty cut and dry. The next thing we did is we have to decide on the color scheme for not only our home but our away jersey. The away jersey is a little bit easier because it's got to be a white-based jersey. So it's really come down to two jerseys for the home jersey. This is the first mock-up. This is obviously our green Vegas gold with stock black pant. The second mock-up is the Vegas gold with the green. Obviously, you see the Titan emblem, the Under Armour emblem. If you look on the side, that's our school district Titan helmet that's going to go on there. I've been assured by the guy that helped with the mock-up that they're going to be a little bit bigger on the shoulder there, so they'll be a little bit easier to see. And then if you want to look at the last one, the last one's kind of, in my opinion, is a no-brainer. We didn't really vote on it with the kids. That's probably going to be our away jersey. There's a possibility that we'll buy pants in 2 cycles, so we could put green pants with those and add a little more green to stay true to Southwest. But I think that one's a done deal. Coach, if you can go back to the first one. I'll just say the vote out front. I polled Resnick and McCullough the same day. Last week was on a Thursday. And then I polled our kids that we have in our athletic period. Anybody that's going to have input on it got a vote. And the vote is actually 87 to 40 in favor of not the green jersey, but the next one, Coach, the Vegas jersey. So our kids, not unanimously, but I would say on a 2-to-1 too excited about not having enough green, then we can flip those pants to green and add a lot more green to it. But
I was beginning to wonder, what are the school colors?
it's Vegas gold and our green.
Oh,
And then black is
I've
the,
been around long enough, I thought it was green and white.
Did you say R green?
The old school. Southwest Sportsman.
Yeah, Sylvester just said it's old school.
That's the old school. This is a new
That is
school.
the green that's spec'd on the numbers that I got on the information.
Hey,
I can give you the exact number code, because that's what we use to mock these up with our Under Armour people.
just, you need a little harassment every now and then, don't you?
Yes, sir. I want to get used to it. So.
Shouldn't be perfect.
No, sir.
And
I
it may
will
be
not.
it may be just my eyes, but I thought the forest green was a little darker than that. You may just want to check that if that's your goal. You don't have to have that goal, but, I'm not quite sure that that's forest green, but I could be wrong.
I'll check those numbers.
And do you worry at all that since you have kind of a light color, that then on on your away, that's for home, right?
Yes, sir.
And your opponent's gonna come in with white, it's pretty close.
That Vegas gold is actually going to be
pretty
a lot
dark.
darker.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of on a mock-up, yeah.
imagine Army. It's kind of like the Army is Vegas gold.
Oh, okay.
Wake Forest is Vegas gold.
Okay.
What's that?
Well, you know,
Notre Dame is Notre Dame
I
gold.
appreciate y'all and, the Fine Arts bringing this to us, but, you know, these are really y'all's decisions.
Absolutely.
And, I think they're very fine and very nice, and we're gonna support you. And,
Obviously, we want the kids to be a big part of everything.
Yeah.
For the kids in the community, so, always.
Flores?
Any questions, concerns? Special thanks to Amanda for putting that on the slide.
Yes, we do want to thank Ms. Amanda Ballarin, who has been great in collaborating with the students and collaborating with all the groups and all the staff involved in putting this together. She's the one that put this whole PowerPoint together, so we're thankful for her and all the work that she's doing there. Next, we're going to be moving to the Southwest Legacy dance uniforms. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Bailly, who will be making that presentation.
Good afternoon, I'm Ms. Bailly. I'll be the dance director for Legacy next year. These are the samples that I have. I have two options. That's one option. It's short sleeve. It's short sleeve. It is gold at the top, and then we have black trim and then white trim. And then you notice there's a white belt, and then the skirt matches. I couldn't add too much black because you have to have the white belt. They don't give you black belts with black boots and black hat. So we have to keep the white hat with the white belt and the white boots. So that's why I did have to add an accent of white. And then I'll have a jacket for when it's cold. So that's one option right there. And the green does look, it is a forest green. It may not look forest green on the picture, but it will be forest green. Then the second option is short sleeve. The top part is actually a net material and it's not cloth. So if you could just kind of imagine that. But it is net and then gold and then white and black with the white belt. And then the jacket is a little different from the first option when it's cold. That will also be forest green as well. I asked some students and they did prefer the short sleeve over, this one over option one. So these are the two options that we have for dance team next year. Is there any questions or concerns about the uniform?
You use green and white too, right?
Yes, green and white. Forest green, white, and gold. Yes, sir.
This school is colored green and gold.
How long ago did you go to school here? Wait, did you graduate? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, and heading up cheerleading is Ms. Pichon. She'll be going over their cheerleading options.
Hello. If you don't know, the cheer companies, they have an online design studio, so that got really fun after a while. So narrowed it down to top two, asked students, asked other teachers which ones they prefer, and narrowed it down to two options. just like with Miss Bailly. This is the first one, that's the shell top. And that is gold, it's a metallic gold, and it will, I know, same concern as everybody else. It doesn't seem like it's a dark green, but it will be. It's just in the imaging. And then we have the skirt that matches that one, so that's the first option. And then the second one, again, same combo of colors. That one has more detail on the back than the first one. And then there's a little bit more detail with this skirt as well. And then you can see the two side by side. So that's what we've narrowed it down to. Now, if anybody has a question for me or...
Anybody?
I'm sorry, sir?
Thank you.
Okay.
And now I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Ballarin, who will be making the presentation for the band uniforms.
While they're getting set up and everything, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the music that's going to be playing while we demonstrate the band uniform. We have had a music committee come and get together, and we have given them a word bank of different words for them to start thinking about putting words to the school songs and to the fight song. So different things that they have come
14-0. We're ahead already.
So I do want to point out one of the things about the uniform. One of the things I'm sure you noticed was a cape. And so we have this cape here that is actually two different colors. Right now at Southwest High School, we use the scarves on our bridgeman hats. And so they have two interchangeable colors, which are the green and the silver. We use that for seniors to be distinguished as far as everybody will have the green on, and then silver will be turned out for the seniors so that we can distinguish them from the rest of the band. The same idea will be used for the cape. It's interchangeable where you can have green on the outside or gold on the outside. So that will kind of be our signature, as well as, I'm sure you probably noticed, our Trojan hat here. The other thing that we have is we have the gauntlets attached to it, as well as the shiny, we call them the dingle shoes. So they're slightly different from what we use at Southwest as well. I'm going to go ahead and have, this is Brisa by the way, I'm going to have Brisa take off the Trojan helmet, and she's going to put on the competition helmet. If you look at the competition helmet, it is a continuation of the lightning bolt image that we have on the uniform itself. It gives more of a taller look and a more abrupt look for the band members. And once you see all of them in this, it's going to be very flashy. So it's very nice.
Put that on all the football players, they'll be a foot taller.
What is the, what material is the helmet made from and how heavy it is?
The material is a light plastic. I'm glad you asked. So I'm going to get into, I'm not going to get to the helmet. So this helmet we ordered from Van Shop. It is a very light helmet so that whenever we are competing and there's activities, that this is not going to be something that puts on the student's head. And so it's very light, it's not metal.
Wear that at board meetings so we can't get hit.
However, we were able to find the actual logo for the Titans. And so we ordered this helmet. It is metal and it will be used for our drum majors. And so they will actually have the Legacy Titans logo used. And so, going back to drum majors, for the competition uniform, when they wear the hat, they will have different colors that stand out. For example, they have the gold gauntlets on their forearms. They also will have the green plume with the gold accents in it. And thank you, Dennis, for suggesting the gold. Very nice. The main big difference, of course, for the kids, this is the big one. They love the cape aspect. And so for the drum major, take it a full cape instead of just the half cape. All right, so the other music that we have for you in store today would be the school song. While you hear the school song, you will get to see our wedding jacket modeled by the our students as well.
Good job.
So at the end of the school song, of course, you want something that's nice
Thank you.
Good job.
Great job.
You guys did a lot better job than the coaches. We don't have any football players yet to model. We're working on that though.
All right, next thing on the agenda is the new campus signage.
Yes, sir. We got down to 12. Rafael Barajas, they're going to pass up some information for you. Oh, Rafael.
So what we have here to present is,
I just want to say follow that, Rafael.
man, I forgot my maracas at home, sorry.
Maracas.
Thank you.
But there has been a conversation going on since Mr. Valles' passing on how Southwest ISD can memorialize Mr. Valles' memory. And there's been conversations about the athletic complex to the press box, but I think the consensus has been to do a plaque in memoriam of Mr. Manuel Valles. And what we have here, Dan with Pfluger Architects has prepared 2 options. Again, we've worked through probably another 5 options, but this will be the same size as the dedication plaque, so 24 by 36. We also have, and what you have attached really, it's option A and option B. It has a biography part on it, as well as his favorite poem, The Dash. So if you go through it, top one is option A, bottom one is option B. Option B, the difference is it has his leadership positions right above his head. As for locations of these, what we're thinking about, option 1 on the press box, on the ticket booth, and I think I left my pointer.
Oh, did it?
Right across the ticket booth, there's a planter location right there with a shrub. What we're thinking is to actually place a limestone boulder and attach the plaque to that. It would be visible through everybody that goes in and out of that ticket booth. I mean, that's the main funneling pathway and exit way of the athletic complex. And every sport, from baseball, soccer, track and field, tennis, will be able to see it. The second option we're thinking about is on the side of the press box. A third option that was also discussed was as you go up to the press box, there's a video booth, so it's up in the press box. Personally, I think the one on the ticket booth is going to be the most viewable for students and staff and everybody kind of showing up to Legacy Athletic Complex. So that's what we have to present in terms of the memorial plaque.
What are our options to actually get it on the ticket booth? Not on a rock, but what are our options if we wanted to actually be on the build?
The issue that I see is on the ticket booth, as you go in, you see there's a lot of structure in it. So it could be either on the back or on the front of one of the buildings, since there's 2. So it would only be on one side, either on the front. You can't really put it in the back because that's kind of a back access of the ticket booth.
That's walking into the stadium complex?
Yes.
Thing there?
Everybody's going to go
So
through that ticket.
as you walk in, I mean, that's the dead end.
You're standing inside with the football field to your back, looking out at the parking lot.
Right.
One of the other alternatives we discussed was actually putting a rock in the tree, replacing the shrub in the tree, but not putting the plaque. We have to still figure out the dimensions of the plaque, and it's going to be comparable. One of the options is making it comparable to the legacy plaque that goes on the Legacy High School building that lists all the keeping in line with what we've done with rock and trees, but, this is, a little different because it's going for quite a little bigger dimensions than what we've been doing, on the ones that we have here at the home campus. So that's another option that we're bringing. Right now, it's about kind of, are we on the right track? Get some direction, and then we will bring, what are we looking for in wording? Because I know I've sent out some wording. I know that we've got some other wording in here that's more specific about the contributions of Mr. Valles, and because we have the issue of a lot of contributors to our school district. This one is different because of the tragedy that happened during the course of that event when it was under construction, and we like to try to bring that right to there. So, we could put it on a rock. I think putting it on the building itself is going to be a little obscure.
Well, I don't even like, unless I'm missing something, I don't even like the entrance to the stadium.
We probably need a.
It's very plain.
We need a view
Well,
from
it's
the
not-
other side. That's inside the stadium. You're inside the stadium walking out, am I correct?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
no, I want to
I
see
would like to
walking
see-
into the
Do we have a
stadium. 'cause
picture of the other side?
So, no, that's a
That's the-
aerial, so
Yeah, no.
everybody walks in through that point.
But do we have a picture of that, like,
On the other side?
going into the
Yes.
stadium?
Let me see if I,
And from all these photos, just so I can kind of address the plainness of it, we have the life-size athletic silhouette cutouts that haven't been installed yet. So all of the various athletic activities will be represented, much like the big discs that we have here. So there's still information missing from here.
so it would be in that location, right in the
Is that
center.
going into the stadium?
Yes, that's from the front of the ticket. So what I'm saying is,
Well,
it
I
could,
don't want it on a rock. I don't. I want it I want it prominent, because everybody's gonna walk by that rock, they're never gonna care what's on that rock. I mean, I'm just being honest. So, they're all gonna be filing in and walking this way, nobody's even gonna read the rock. So, I'm just speaking for myself, right? Just my opinion. I want something on the front of that thing that everybody is gonna be forced to see when they walk into that stadium.
And I have an opinion too. As you all know, I've not been in favor of this. As much as I love Manny, I don't like naming stuff after people because, you know why? Because they don't know, 3 years from now, nobody will know who that is. They'll think he's a astronaut from the Challenger. But, because that's what everybody else's school, our schools have, is a Challenger. But I'm hopeful that this could be, since it's legacy, since we're talking about a school called Legacy, that we could highlight those people, including Manuel, those people who have achieved some outstanding level of accomplishment in their lives, whether they be alive or dead or whatever. And so there would be many of these. I mean, I don't mean like every 5 foot, but that we should do this in a way that allows us to also recognize other people. And that's what I would like. So we have.
So you two want to go in next door, y'all fight it out, whoever wins.
No, we've already done that.
I mean, I'm just gonna say that just because we've never done something doesn't mean that we can't start. And so we can't tackle the whole world in one shot. We can't acknowledge everybody that's contributed, the past board members, the past coaches, blah, 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 everybody. We can't do that at once. But I mean, for Pete's sake, we always say, oh, well, Northside does it. Northside has something named after everybody and their uncle, right? I mean, we have an elementary school named after Dr. McAndrews because of what she contributed to the school district.
Very well earned, I would
Right.
say.
I'm saying, just because we've never done it doesn't mean we can't. And I think that we, okay, I'm
No,
just not going to be happy with the rock.
And I understand where you're coming from, and I agree with you. But because it's a split booth, it's going to be hard to put it on either wall. So we'd have to come up with some type of stand-up, plaque or something. Which we could talk about but I think on Keith's end, I think what he's saying is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Keith, is you think we should find an area where, you know, in a couple of years, we want to add somebody, we can add it in that same area and create a legacy wall, a legacy hall.
Walkway,
We already have that.
maybe walkway.
We already have that in the high
We
school.
do have legacy trails, which is going to have a historical significance. The founding fathers of that area to bring into the building and you know, the Blas Maria Hall, the Antonio Francisco Ruiz Hall, things like that, that we're working on. We've been working on it for a while. I think what I hear Dr. Byron saying is what we do, it could be different, it could be new. Something we've never done it, don't do it. But what we do is setting precedent. And what we do here, we're going to do in the future, for others to follow, is go back and capture, certain contributors to aspects of Southwest ISD that really, kind of created the key groups that we are. And so, it's starting something new, setting a precedent in policy, we've already talked about policy. We're not prepared to present the whole thing yet, but we wanted to bring this information because we know that this is kind of the kickstart to changing policy and changing the way we do it, and we're really happy to embrace that. I'm going to tell you, I understand the issue of making a comment to me, and I'd like us to maybe take a drive out there. The most common place is when you walk through those gates, that's the first thing you see. Not on a lot, but we talk about different alternative ways to make sure that we put that out there and make this. I think it does get lost in the ticket booth, and you talk about big crowds, and you talk about people just kind of following through. And I know what our conversation has been, but I'd like you guys to take a drive out there and kind of look at that. I think you feel the same way. Once you see it in person, you can't really tell in the school picture, but once you see it in real life, what we're talking about, it will be very prominently displayed in that first location that's out there.
Well, you could just have it on each side. I mean, originally, I want the stadium named after him, so I'm compromising, in my opinion, to go with this plaque.
I'm just glad we're doing it for a minute there. I thought y'all were not listening to us, so.
Well, what if we put a
Well,
plaque on both sides?
I'm not saying, let me clarify my position. I'm not saying don't do it. And what I'm saying is if you do it in a way that allows you to recognize other people as well for the future. We want to put Mike up there.
Yeah, I was
So that's
thinking
true.
where I would be over there,
I
maybe in a hole in the front.
I see it over there. But I mean, is it an option to put it on, a plaque on both ticket booths?
Absolutely, it's an option.
I mean, people are in line buying tickets, so they're gonna see it.
But again, once you're creating precedent, so for the people coming, are you gonna create the same on both sides for everybody to see? I mean, if you're creating a precedent for the
That's up to the
future.
other boards. I mean, you know, that's up to whoever else comes in 10 or 15 years. But, I mean, I'm not gonna not do something just because of what it might create. I mean, for Pete's sake. I mean, I've been wanting to name a school after Mike for the last 10 years that I've been on the school board.
But it's
He
still
says
alive.
no.
I keep hanging on though.
But that's nice too when they're still alive. They can enjoy it. Anyway, I'm just giving my opinion on it.
How many people do we have fighting on this? Well, I didn't hear that comment. Must have been a bad one.
I think that's true.
Anyway.
You got their rooms.
So I think the direction we're looking for is, you know, obviously we're gonna bring it to a vote, for the board. And so, as much information as we can gather direction, you know, we'll try to put that in the form of options. Go for option 1, 2, and 3, you know, A, B, and C. And so, is it some direction from the board that we identify the levels of, I guess, titles that Mr. Valles had when he was in the district, or you saw what I sent out in the writing, was that going, too far one direction overboard? There's some things you want us to stay away from, and are there some things you want us to definitely put?
Well, I like the poem, but it's very long. I don't know if everybody's gonna stand there and read the poem. So even though I like the poem, I don't know that anyone's gonna stand there and read it.
Maybe they can just
So-
make a reference to the poem.
So maybe, I love the picture. I really like that.
I did too.
And let me just say that my Photoshop skills are not very good, so once we have better direction, I'm gonna get one of the plaque manufacturers to develop the graphic that they do so much better than I can. And we'll bring you back a better proof of what it will look like.
I just don't understand where y'all wanted to put the tree and the flag. I mean, it
That's
looks like
inside.
it's all cement down
No,
there.
it's inside the gate thing.
Right.
Right when you walk through those little gates there, you can
After you
barely
pass
see.
that.
Yeah, see
So-
that shrub? It's all right there.
There's planters all along here. So that's the first planter coming from the ticket booth.
Oh, I see what you're saying now.
And they're about 5 foot by 5 foot planters. Or actually, no, they're about 10 foot by 10.
They're big enough to handle a full-size grown tree.
Right.
So are you okay with the direction of the actual flag?
Yeah.
This flag, not the actual setting of where we're
Right.
putting the flag.
The picture you mean?
Yeah, the picture, I mean, the different,
fast
the
or
language
whatever
and
it's
stuff,
gonna be.
we could change that. But you don't want you're saying the dash is taking up too much.
There might be a reduced,
The first, there's a recognized version that's just the first three, and I don't know what the proper terms of the stanzas, if you will.
well, we might do that, a shorter version of it. But I really think that the educational aspect of it, that's really,
Read the first two paragraphs with the last one.
what we want our kids to read it and take away from it.
Even just those first 4 lines.
What information do you need today?
But I think we got that. I think
I
that's,
think they got the version of it.
you've seen.
Whataburger's on sale, but
Well, number one, really location. 2 is what language do you guys see being appropriate on the plaque itself? I think the picture, the title, his dates, that's kind of, set in stone. But the language that's going to be, this is going to be a 24 by 36 plaque. So it'll be the same as our building plaques.
If you look at option B, we have a little narrative and then we have a list of his leadership positions in that Southwest ISD. We can rearrange this, we can actually, the dash is another version that's smaller. That we
I've
can
actually
add to
got
it,
those
we
on
can
here.
shorten
Oh, here you go.
that.
You got it right there.
And so, and we could reword and come up with a different summary. But, I mean, this is kind of the direction we were looking at as far as, if you're fine with this part.
This is kind of one of the first iterations we had with the dash on it, and then it changed sizes. So, I mean, what we can do is we can send you guys those options and put it up for a vote, or we can limit them to 1 and 2. So that's kind of the direction that we want it.
Okay. We also have to bring back a policy recommendation, and a regulation on how folks would want consideration for this same type of plaque, for someone, how they go about applying for that, and how those different things, but we'll put all that in the policy aspect of it. And then, I think we need a presentation on legacy trails, the further historical, aspects of maybe location, aspects of the legacy high school at some point. I know we've talked about it for a long time, and how we want to do that.
Okay. Any other questions? Mari?
y'all got what you need then?
Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, the next thing is ACE.
This is an opportunity that we have had in our school district to bring back a lot of what's been happening at the national level with our
McMahon.
Southwest Engineering team. And July the Battle, Bob Braun, high school administration, and folks have been extremely critical in putting our sweat program on the national map with the car race. We've had a lot of conversation the last couple of years with Councilman Saldana and with other city leaders about the idea of having a car race in San Antonio without having to travel all the way to Florida and all the way to Detroit, even though we'll still do those things. But kind of creating some excitement since we have Toyota manufacturing here and some other facilities. So in our conversations
Mona,
with Toyota
idiots, I read it.
we worked with them, applied for a grant to include other school districts, and Southwest would kind of be the leader. So I'll kind of let Eliza talk more about what ACE is. This is going to be the first inaugural event, what we hope to become an annual thing and turn it to national level sometime in the future.
So ACE
stands for Alamo City Electrothon Race. Our sweat kids came up with that. They kind of were throwing around some ideas for the name of it. In your packet, I kind of put, Mr. Franz had a history of what Electrothon is. The vehicle, it's a single person, it kind of looks like a go-kart. The picture on that packet is our car that we have now. Like Dr. Versa said, we partnered with Somerset, South San, East Central, Harlandale, Edgewood, and South Side to compete in this race. Since we have done this race before, Southwest will not be competing. We will have a car out there racing, but our job at Southwest is to help mentor the other school districts, start their own clubs, so that way this can be shared throughout the San Antonio area. Toyota has put up most of the bill for this. There are some things that the school districts will have to cover. I also added in your packet the budget that we're going off of. We're still working on where we're going to have the race, but the race will be May 19th. We have already ordered all the kit cars. The last shipment will be February 23rd. I've spoken with Stephanie at Toyota. We're going to have an unveiling at Toyota. Invite the schools, the kids. Hopefully by then they'll have their shirts designed so they can go get their kits and then start, and they'll have 10 weeks to put the car together and then go race it.
Now, you're talking about a race here in town?
Yes, sir.
How many schools do we have that are involved in this?
6. So one sponsor will be at every high school in those 6 districts. We have made contact with 3 out of the 6. This Thursday, we're having another meeting at the shop, and the other 3 will be coming. We will also be offering the schools to bring their kids over to our shop, so that way our kids can also help mentor those kids. So we're really here to give any support those schools need to make this successful for their students.
So the idea in the future is this is going to be a multiple high school event in Bear County, that we will have visitors come from within the state, and then we'll have visitors come from outside the state to participate. But it has to start somewhere. The starting inaugural group for this is all the schools on the south side. And so it's Southwest is leading it. Southwest is the fiduciary using the grant from Toyota. But it's Somerset, South San, South Side, East Central, Edgewood, did I forget anyone?
Harlandale.
Harlandale will be the participating school districts. Southwest will be their exhibition only, along with an invite to
St. Philip's.
High School.
And St. Philip's.
And St. Philip's, Northeast, and they're kind of veterans on this circuit, and have been at it for a while. And our hope is to plant that seed, get it started, add a few more high schools next year, and then in year 3, really add at least half of the high schools in San Antonio. We've been on a site visit to the round track that is down the road from, or close to Legacy High School with Toyota Manufacturing. It looks a lot better from the highway when you get in there. It is pretty, time has not been good to it.
Well, you have a lot of open country out in the Toyota area, but I wonder, are you wanting the city to get involved in this?
The city is involved by namesake. We think if we can get something started, they'll get more involved. But yes, to answer your question, that's how it
Well,
originally.
put it on the Riverwalk if you got room down there and use that. There's got to be something in the area, those parks that they've built, that something like this could happen.
It's normally done on a round track. When we
Okay.
talk to Peters Village, they can make a round track around Peters Village. That's a plan B. We haven't moved completely away from plan A, or plan A.
I was just thinking, you know, got all these people sitting up there on the city council, that every time you hear Riverwalk, well, they jump on something and they might get involved here. Just a thought.
It is a thought. We can do that.
It might not work, but you might get a little money that way.
Like would a round track, like around a football field work?
It has to be a circuit.
Half a mile.
A rail racetrack has. There are specific requirements that we have to follow. It has to be asphalt.
Well, and it's safer for the kids to go on the bank when that. So the safest option would be on a bank.
Everything else is cement, so.
But Brandon's gonna have to go out there with a lawnmower, at least for 3 weeks.
Push more.
That'll keep him in shape. The 105 degree in the
We'll
shade.
just send the maintenance
Be a good day.
department out
Not
there.
only that,
Forget the
new
schools.
Wheatley Sports
Forget the
Complex
schools.
that the city built.
Which one?
Wheatley Sports Complex, I think it's either SIC or maybe East Central.
We'll check with them.
Is it SIC?
Is that an
But I
asphalt?
can't remember what kind of track they've got around
How
there.
about Southwest Research? They don't have a track?
Not big enough to hold 6
do.
cars at once.
Okay.
They do.
The idea behind a track, like a school track, is that because we have 6 cars racing at the same time,
Yes,
the track won't be
you're right.
wide enough.
You're right.
So it's gonna have to be something that
But
has.
Southwest Research is might,
Eliza said it's not wide.
It's not wide
not
enough.
wide enough for every side.
We could go to Motor Speedway in Dallas.
That's a
We'll
thought.
be there in July anyway, so.
You could kind of pay everybody's way up there to watch that, couldn't you? Go on.
Huh?
But we will find a location, or actually make a location, and it will happen. It's very exciting to see the other school districts get excited about the opportunity of getting their car. Toyota is basically sponsoring everyone's car to seed it, to get it started. We're not getting one because we just want to get some energy behind it and get it going. And so we want to be a support and not an additional obstacle. We're very excited about our kids are going to be leading other peer groups at other school districts in this process, doing training along with Eliza and Bob. And there will be a lot of excitement coming out. We're going to have to market it extremely well, and we're going to have to pull in the city. So, yeah, you're right. This originally started off with Councilman Saldana. I don't believe they had the funds, the availability that Toyota did, so they kind of went out of the picture, but we need to bring them back in. So we'll work on that.
Is he being termed out? Is he being termed out?
Who?
Saldana? Is he being termed out?
No, he has 2 more years, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Two more?
He does.
He's doing another term.
Anything else on this?
No, thank you, Eliza.
Thank you, Eliza.
What, you have one more thing, or do you need executive session?
I want to let everyone know that this morning, and I want to thank Dr. Byron and Mr. Fraser for being able to be there. We had the press conference for the Hope Cat internship where 19 students, 19 11th to 12th graders
Well, that's a
will be
big
starting
deal.
to go to work 3 hours a day at Hope Cat. Some of them in IT, some in business,
Got
some
some great
using,
kids up there.
it's going to be the greatest kind of industry mentor, real world opportunity for our kids, and they're making between $16 and $19 an hour with an opportunity of $25, north of $25 upon graduation. Right? The feedback we received back from Hope Cat and the folks who were here on February the 1st for the interviews was they have never experienced a quality level of students and staff and treatment they did at Southwest High School. In essence, they've never extended 100% of the interviewee job in this case they did. They had felt that everyone was quality and they couldn't go wrong by hiring them all. So we're very excited about that and a really great representation of our community and our students. It was very exciting this morning, I thought.
Was.
And a nice release too. So, we all have a special counselors luncheon.
We have a breakfast on Friday morning. It's National Counselors Week, and so we did extend that to senior staff, and board is welcome to come at 8:30 to 9:30 in the school.
Do we have an update on the social worker from the 9th grade campus? How is she doing?
She's doing,
Yes,
doing fine.
she's home. Her family though, her husband is still in, I believe, and 2 of the girls are still in. So, their injury is quite severe, they'll be out for a while.
Okay.
So we're working through.
You keep us up to date on that? Thank you.
Yes, and we have Daisy and our policy girls and a lot of the arena of social work, I know I talked to Dr. McDonald, we've been informed, I don't know if once we get out, but we have very exciting news about one of our social workers coming to the theater near you soon. And be able to share that next meeting, but very exciting stuff for that arena of quality folks that we have in our school district. And that's all we have for us.
Anybody else? No executive session? All right, we're adjourned at 12:50.